Hello, popcorn junkies. Welcome to this battered, look at it, battered realism. Did you get it? Battered realism. Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, new teaser, trailer. The first Star Wars feature film in quite some time. Possibly, is it the first since The Rise of Skywalker, when it all went to pot? And we haven't had anything since, is that right? There haven't been any spin-offs, have there, since? So this is the big new feature film directed by Jon Favreau and written by Dave Filoni, the two guys behind the Mandalorian season series on Disney+. I liked the first series because it was kind of new, though familiar. And then it just felt like, was it or wasn't it Pedro Pascal wandering through deserty kind of locations? It has to be said, Grogu possibly the best new kind of character invention aspect of the Star Wars universe in quite some time. I'm purposefully ignoring the success of things like Andor and films like I quite like the film Solo and stuff like that. But I have to say, I think Star Wars is slightly in the doldrums. And my hope for this, if I had a hope, my hope for this is that it will perhaps reach back to that original kind of concept or idea behind Star Wars, which is really that it's aimed at 11-year-olds. I do think a lot of us older fans of the franchise and the universe do lose sight of that. And whilst there's room for series like Andor that are a bit more thought-provoking, a bit more serious, a bit more edgy, there's got to be room too for that proper, hardcore, childlike fun. Is it Pedro Pascal or isn't it Pedro Pascal? I mean, I think that's the big question. This is like the Schrodinger's cat theory of Star Wars. Who's in the suit? Is he in the suit? Is he going to be taking the helmet off lots or not? This is directed by Jon Favreau. If I had any criticisms at all of the show, the series on Disney Plus, was it was a bit samey. It was a bit too low rent, and yet they were working with it was too televisual. They were working with budgets equivalent to feature films. So I'm kind of going to keep a keen eye on whether I can feel the fact that this is, will this be elevated to the level of cinema, or is this very much going to feel like Disney Plus just being screened on a big screen? Also in this is Sigourney Weaver, Jeremy Allen White, and as I say, what not to like about a baby Yoda? It's not Yoda, but it's like we call him Baby Yoda, Grogu. He's a great character. He's sweet, and it's telling, isn't it, that one of the best characters in Star Wars doesn't say anything coherent. You can't understand him. And one of the most enigmatic characters in Star Wars, you never see him in the form of the Mandalorian. So this is scheduled to be released in 2026, May 2026. You wonder why. Apparently it's being released on May the 22nd. Why don't they release it on May the 4th? A big return. So could this film be carried to success by the simple fact that we've been starved of a Star Wars movie for a period of time equivalent to the periods of time between the original Star Wars movies? Because my theory is that the reason the first films were all so successful was you did have a mighty long time to wait between the films. So, without further ado, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's the Muppets.
on, baby.
I've just got to say something. Why do major studios use fonts on the intertitles, so like May 2026, and they look like they've literally, nothing wrong with Final Cut Pro or something like that, but they literally look like they've been added at the last minute, and they remind me of the kind of straight to VHS, I don't know, Bambi 3 type graphics that you would get. So that's always a disappointment. I can never cease to be amazed that they don't put the effort into those intertitle graphics. Okay, I mean, it's very much a teaser. There's stormtroopers in there. There's that little character. What's the name of the kind of engineer? He's really cool. I really like him. He's kind of fun, funky. At that point, it felt like the Muppet Show, didn't it? It very much felt like Frank Oz, which is no issue with that. That's kind of in keeping with the original films. Sigourney Weaver in that sort of interior. Oh my God, I was getting all sorts of kind of nostalgia pushbacks to things like Alien, because don't forget the films Alien and the original Star Wars. The production designers and art design teams were the same. There was a lot of crossover between the two teams. You wouldn't want to invite Grogu to Nando's, would you? Because he would definitely nick your salted peanuts or your spicy peanuts. That was kind of sweet. It was kind of fun. It was kind of obvious fun. But again, is this very much for 11-year-olds? I think it is. I like the kind of, neon light in the kind of puddle a la Blade Runner. I'm not entirely sure about Grogu landing on his shoulder, but hey, you've got to keep them united. The creatures looked very cool. Was that Jabba the Hutt, a naked Jabba the Hutt in that ring, sort of with his arms aloft? I think it was. I think we're going to get Jabba again. And then as we got towards the end of the trailer, I got a little bit frustrated by those stupid robot things that look like Transformers with single red eyes, because too animated. And again, that thing about Star Wars is battered reality, the sense of reality fused with special effects. And then again, once we were in that kind of gladiatorial thing, and then the AT-AT, are they called AT-ATs? I think they are. As it falls down the cliffside, obviously it's CGI and obviously it's created, but it looked more like a cartoon than it looked like an animated show at times, more than it looked like the battered realism of Star Wars. And that, for me, is not what Star Wars is about. It's not necessarily whether it's good or bad, but, I want it all to be a bit battered. I like the little kind of green slime squelch at the end there. Lots of kind of monsters and animals in there. I mean, it very much feels like The Mandalorian on Disney+, which is fine, but I didn't feel any overarching sense of drama beyond the drama you get from a Star Wars series. Do you get me? I thought we could have maybe had something in there that was a bit more portentous. I think sometimes with the other Star Wars films, what works is when, even if it's silly and it's kind of infantile, a sort of serious big question about a reveal or a character or something. I mean, maybe even just was he going to take his helmet off or something? I don't know. So playing it safe, playing it silly. It felt very silly and it felt very animated.